So, going into the Soul Society arc, I was already well aware of the reputation it has. I know it's considered to be up there with some of the greatest anime arcs of all time, with stuff like Marineford from One Piece and Chimera Ant arc from Hunter x Hunter. So, I went into this having some pretty high expectations, and I can gladly say that they were met. The entirety of Soul Society is split into two arcs. You have the breaking into the Sarate part, and then the actual freeing Rukia part. So the entire arc is twice the length of the Substitute arc, and I think it took up like 2 seasons because it had 2 different openings, and the first of the 2 openings was a fucking banger. Like, holy shit, that is a top tier anime opening. The length was not an issue at all, because the pacing was actually really good. There was never any part of the story where they stuck around on one little subplot too long. They sort of got through things in an episode or 2 when they needed to. Stuff like when they were fighting the people below the rank of lieutenant, like just sort of the fodder Shinigami. And then when they got into the longer fights with captains and stuff, they lasted a couple episodes. Though, with the side characters like Uryu and Chad, they usually kept them pretty short. I think the fight with Uryu and Mayuri only lasted like an episode or 2. So, they understood that the side characters are neat, but you're really here for Ichigo doing his thing. And he does his thing. The fights in this arc are really incredible. Ichigo versus Kenpachi was amazing, even though there was plot armor stuff and the issues with Kenpachi's power scaling later on, but it was fine because the fight on its own is just amazing. You've got Ichigo versus Byakuya, which was fantastic. Of course, after his Bankai training, which I was actually kind of surprised by how entertaining it was. I have this negative expectation for training arcs that they're just going to be like boring stuff, but seeing Ichigo fight Zangetsu using a bunch of different versions of the sword was actually really cool. And Kubo really went fucking nuts with all the sword designs. Like, holy shit, I didn't realize there were that many crazy anime ways to design a sword, but he came up with them. And then, of course, you had Ryu versus Mayuri, which is great. I was kind of surprised by how much I enjoyed that. And you had Chad versus Shunsui, which was very one-sided, but Shunsui is very entertaining, which gets into one of the other fantastic parts of this arc, is all of the characters it introduced. I don't think there was, like, a single character they introduced that I didn't like. Maybe the lieutenant from the second squad. I don't even know what his name was. I should clarify that I've been watching this with the dub, which is something I never do, but I had already seen parts of Bleach that were in the dub, and I actually thought the voice acting was really good. And so far the voice acting has been really good, which is great. But almost all of the characters were compelling and entertaining, which is pretty remarkable when you consider how many characters were introduced in one arc. You had the 13 captains. Yeah, I think we got introduced to all 13 of them. And then most of their respective lieutenants. So that's over 20 characters that you introduce in one arc, and to have almost all of them be memorable in some way, and for pretty much all of them to be likable, is pretty impressive. If I had to have favorites, oh jeez, I quite like Gin a lot. Gin was really cool. Who else? Toshiro, Shunsui. I can't remember the blind guy's name for the life of me. Or the fox guy. And of course, Kenpachi. Kenpachi is really just a standout. I had no idea that he had a personal assistant lolly who serves as his really terrible GPS, but it was one of the most entertaining little character dynamics I've seen in a while, so that was great. And of course, the entirety of the arc leads up to the reveal of Aizen. I was already aware of Aizen being a traitor and being the main antagonist for a big chunk of the series, but that did not at all reduce how fantastic his reveal was. The build-up to it was great, because I think Aizen, quote-unquote, died, what, like 10 or 15 episodes into the arc? I don't remember if he died, or if he faked his death before or after Ichigo fought Kenpachi, but all the build-up after that with his letter to Momo, and then all of the suspicion around Gin, it was all really well done. And his fucking spanking of all of the characters at the end of the arc was really quite intimidating. I've never seen an anime villain stop the main character's theme song with one finger before, but he did it. I should also say that Kyoka Sagetsu was busted as all fuck, like holy shit. Man. But arc ends with Aizen getting away with Gin and Blind Guy, whose motivation, I hope, is expanded upon, because his whole thing about how, oh, my eyes can only see justice, and the path that has least bloodshed, that is the path I am taking. I hope that's expanded upon, because it's usually interesting when a character sides with the main villain, but they have good intentions in doing so. So, hopefully that's not a plot point that, is just sort of forgotten. Because he's pretty interesting, and his, oh god, what was his name? Sojin? The fox guy with the giant mecha Bankai. Their sort of dynamic was good, and I'm interested to see how that works out now that he's a villain. But all in all, save for like the kind of plot armory stuff, but that's like kind of expected of a shonen, and this is a battle manga, so I'm just really kind of here to see cool shit. This is definitely a 10 out of 10 arc, without question. Any of the minor issues I've had with it, or that I did have with it, are so minor that they're not even worth like docking points for. Oh god, this was like 40-something episodes. I think this was like 43 episodes. 41, because I didn't watch filler. I'm not watching any of the filler, I'm not here for that garbage. It didn't feel like it lasted that long. I enjoyed like every episode. That hasn't happened to me in a very long time, watching through 40 episodes of a series and not having one that I was kind of bored or iffy about. That's, that really is something. But, going on from that, there is one sort of external thing I am aware of, and it's that Soul Society is supposedly the high point of BLEACH. And that the series starts to go downhill from there. So we're gonna find out. I'm of course going to form my own opinion on the series as I watch it. But if Soul Society is the high point, that's not a bad sign, because it's one of the best anime arcs ever. And it was certainly one of the best anime arcs I've ever watched. So, looking forward to what's up ahead. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. If you enjoyed this video, and you look forward to seeing more of my videos, like and subscribe. Consider following me on Twitter. I just kind of retweet shit, but I'll give updates on anything going on with my channel, should the need ever arise, and I'll have the link to that in the description. And with that, I'll see you around.